Charms, look at this picture. Oh, what a scenic beauty it is. Water is so essential in our day-to-day lives. But what about the importance of water? Why water is so essential in our day-to-day lives? We have to talk about it, right? Yes. So that's what we are going to discuss now. And that is what the reason we have come up with an amazing one-shot session on the topic called water. And this is chapter number 5 from Geography of Class 7. So please pay attention throughout the class and try to take down the important points. And if you find any kind of doubts in between, please don't hesitate to ask your doubts in the comment box. I'm here to help you out. And my name is Aishwarya Sindhu Ramachandran and I'm your geography educator today. So let's dive into our contents. So look at it. These are the basic topics that we will learn today. Are you all ready? If you are ready, just give me a thumbs up in the comment box. So look at it. We are going to start off with the basic definition of potable water, then uses of water, water resources, water cycle, and finally ocean circulation. So these are the topics that we will learn today. So without much ado, let's start with our very first topic. It's all about potable water. What is meant by potable water? Very important. The water that is safe for drinking can be called it as potable water. What do you think about ocean water? Oh, is it a potable one? No way. Why? Because it is salty in nature. Salty water is not potable. That means the water that you drink should not contain any microbes or any kind of salts or any kind of contaminating particles. It should be safe for drinking. But have you ever thought of how our planet is existing with water? That's what we are going to learn now. So look at it. Here we are going to talk about our blue planet, right? So this is our Earth. Okay. So when you look into our planet, we can say that 70% of the planet is covered with water, right? Yes. But not all water resources are potable in nature. Why? Because we have to talk about different types of water resources. So that's what we are going to learn next. And look at it. Here we are going to talk about water as a magical substance. Why? Because water can exist in 3 forms. What are they? Solid, liquid, and gas. So what about the solid one? Ice. What about the liquid one? The liquid water. What about the gas? Vapor. So water vapor exists in gaseous form. And what about these? These are the various uses of water. So why water is so important? Because water is very essential to meet our day-to-day requirements. And when you look at this picture, I can say that it's very important for drinking purpose. Okay, so please write down very important drinking purpose and for cooking, right? So if you want to make your favorite recipes, you need to have water. And what about this one? To wash your cars. Okay, to wash your cars and clothes, right? And what about this one? Oh my god, to water the plants, right? So to water plants. Okay, so to water plants, to wash your clothes, to cook, to drink, for all these purposes, we need water. So water is one of the essential materials in our life. And I would say it is one of the unavoidable substances in our day-to-day lives. But what do you think about the water resources? Oh, that's where we need to categorize. So look at this one. We are going to categorize water resources into 3 as freshwater resources, then saltwater resources and groundwater resources. Freshwater resources are not salty at all. So look at this one. These are the various examples. River, lakes, ponds, all these are considered as freshwater resources. And what about this one? Saltwater resources are the sources of water in which the water could be salty, right? Yes. So ocean and sea, these are considered as saltwater resources. And what about groundwater resource? aquifers. So aquifers also considered as a groundwater resource. Clear? And now what we are going to learn is all about water cycle. Oh, so we know 70% of our earth is covered with water. But we are using for several purposes. But how we are able to maintain it? That's through water cycle. So we have to define it first. The process by which water continually changes its form and circulates between oceans, atmosphere, and land. So this is all about water cycle. But let me break it down for you because it has various processes. So we are going to start off with evaporation. Very, very important. We are going to start off with evaporation. So in evaporation, liquid water gets converted into vapor form. See, from the water bodies, it can get converted and evaporated with the help of sun, right? So in evaporation, liquid gets converted into vapor. Along with this, transpiration also can occur. What is transpiration? Loss of water droplets through stomatal openings of leaves. So, transpiration also occurs. So, in this way, water is going up. Oh, then what could be the next process? It gets accumulated in the clouds. Then there's the next process. Condensation has to happen. What does mean by condensation? This is a conversion of vapor into liquid. So in this way, condensation occurs in the clouds, and as a result of it, precipitation occurs. What is precipitation? Rain, snow, all these are considered as precipitation. Okay, so in this way, the water is getting back to the earth itself. Got it? So through evaporation and transpiration, water goes up, and through precipitation and condensation, it is coming down. So this is where the balance of water is happening on the earth, and therefore this can be concluded as a water cycle, which helps in the maintenance of water on earth. So this is how we need to define it. And now we are going to talk about ocean circulation. What does mean by ocean circulation? There are various movements that can occur, right? So the movements that occur in oceans can be called it as ocean circulation. And these are of three types: waves, tides, and ocean currents. And now we are going to learn this one by one. What are these waves? How it is different from tides? So these have to be learned one by one. And look at it. Oh, you can see that waves here, right? Yes, so these are waves. But what is this wave exactly? When the surface water of the ocean rises and falls continuously, and these can be called it as waves. And what is the basic reason behind it? Winds blowing at high speed form huge waves, and it causes tremendous destruction. Oh my god. And at earthquake, a volcanic eruption, or underwater landslides can make these kind of huge waves and lead to tsunami. You might have heard about tsunami many times, right? So tsunami could be a result of an earthquake or a landslide or a volcanic eruption. So in this way, you can find that these waves can be so huge in size. Correct? Yes. So this is how the waves are formed. But what about tides? Oh, tides and waves, both are different. Okay, so now we are going to talk about tides. So what are these tides? The rhythmic rise and fall of ocean water twice in a day. So please think about it. So when you talk about waves, it is a surface water rises and falls alternately, can be called it as wave. Okay, so what about tide? Rhythmic rise and fall of ocean water twice in a day can be called it as tide. But in this, we have to learn a few more things. Look at it, high tide and low tide. There are two types of tides. That's what we are going to learn now. When water covers much of the shore by rising to its highest level. So it can rise to its highest level so that it can be called it as high tide. What Low tide, just opposite. When water falls to its lowest level and recedes from the shore. So if it recedes from the shore and falls to the lowest level, we have to call it as a low tide. Clear? And what about the next one? What is the reason behind it? The gravitational pull exerted by the sun and the moon, both. Okay, so you have to be very, very clear with this point. The gravitational pull exerted by the sun and the moon on the earth's surface can be the reason for tides. Okay, and what about this one? Spring tides and neap tides. Again, we are going to learn two more types of tides here. So, spring tides. During full moon and new moon days, the sun, the moon, and the earth lie in the same line, and therefore the tides will be very high. And these are called spring tides. So, on full moon and new moon days, the high tides are formed, and these are specifically called it as spring tides. And what about neap tides? When moon is in its first and last quarter, ocean water gets drawn in diagonally opposite directions by the gravitational pull of sun and the moon, and this results in low tides, and therefore this can be called it as neap tide. Clear? So this is the way that you need to categorize the different types of tides. And now we are going to learn about ocean currents. Very, very important one. So streams of water flowing constantly on the ocean surface in definite directions. Very, very important point. Streams of water flowing constantly on the ocean surface in definite directions. And what about the various characteristics of it? That's what we are going to learn next. So there are two types again. What are they? Warm ocean current and cold ocean current. Okay, that's what we are going to learn in detail now. Warm ocean currents originate near the equator. So the warm ocean currents originate near the equator and move towards pole. And what about next one? Warm currents bring about warm temperature over land surface. That's an amazing thing, right? Yes. And what about the cold currents? These currents carry water from polar regions or higher altitudes to the tropical or lower latitudes. Just opposite. Okay. So warm ocean currents originate from equator and move towards poles, whereas the cold ocean currents carry water from polar or higher latitudes to tropical or lower latitudes. So this is how you need to categorize them. And now, very, very important, the areas where the warm and cold currents meet provide the best fishing grounds. Oh, so wherever these warm and cold currents meet, that's the place where you can find a lot of fishes. That's a good place for fishes to grow. So these are going to be the best fishing grounds. But not only that, you can also find foggy weather there. So it's very, very difficult for people to navigate. Okay, so that is also another challenge that you may face in these kind of areas. The navigation is going to be very, very difficult. Why? Because the weather is going to be too foggy. And now we are going to summarize the things. So we have started with potable water, uses of water, water resources, water cycle, and finally ocean circulation. So that's the end of the class, and I hope everyone really liked it. And if you find any kind of doubts in between, please don't hesitate to ask your doubts in the comment box. I'm here to help you out. And that's the end of the class. We'll see you next class with an amazing session similar to this. Have a nice day and goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much.